Hey, how are you doing today? So today we're going to talk about a really important and a fascinating aspect of Tai Chi Chuan. And this is the idea of integrating flow, but also integrating the posture, the individual postures within that flow. We can look at the, when you look at that yin and yang symbol, the black and white, kind of those two are, you don't want to say battling, but they're dancing together, right? And so this is, we're finding that subtle difference between how to synthesize, being, nicely rooted in our postures, but at the same time, allowing for flow to happen through the body. The analogy that I have for this is the idea that we don't want to be a brick, and then we don't want to be mud. What the heck does that mean? Well, let me show you. And what we're going to do is use the four key postures, Pang, Liu, Ji, and An. And then we're going to look at that and how we adapt that to this concept. So here we go. So here's Pang. Okay, so when I'm talking about making bricks, what we're discussing here is the idea of being in the pose, putting too much attention on the actual pose, where we become frozen in the pose. So this would be an example of that. Okay, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? We're rigid and we're in the posture, which is good, but then we're just frozen in the posture. We kind of lose the momentum and the flow. Now here's an example of mud. See that? We're in the flow, we got flow, we have flow, but we completely are out of touch with the individual postures. So this is the process over time in practice where we acknowledge, we embrace, we celebrate the posture for what it is, and then we also embrace and celebrate the idea of flow that moves along with it. This is a very subtle process, and it takes time. So, the great way that I've learned to start it is that we want to appreciate when we think about the posture. A lot of times, especially in this, what we're working on here, 3 of the 4 of those have the front stance as a part of that posture. Remember, I'm going to put a link up here to the front stance. If you don't know what the front stance is, then just go and take a look at that video. Those that have been with me for a while, you'll know what the front stance is. And you should be very comfortable being in that front stance, no matter what foot you're using, okay? And remember, we have the weight. The weight is distributed 60-40, so we have more weight in the front. So that front stance, when we're in Pang, or we're in press, you're in that beautiful front stance. So you just appreciate and enjoy, okay, there I am, front stance, boom, there it is. So that's one way to start, is to acknowledge it, to feel that front stance coming in, to experience it. Ah, yes, it feels like you're coming home almost, and then allow yourself out of it. Okay, so that's one way to acknowledge the brick side of things, but then at the same time to allow that flow going, okay? So with that being said, here we go. So you acknowledge the front stance here. We flow out of it. Here's the front stance, but then you flow out of it. Here's the front stance. Yes, there it is, but then you flow out of it. And I'm gonna loop it around. Okay, so see how that works? Then, the idea of flow, once we get good at, we start, our practice starts to take on, we tend to go through a stage where we just like to flow and flow and flow because it feels so darn good. But then we start to kind of lose the individuality of it, the individual postures of that. And those postures are very important because they form they were created to form the basis of, like when we're doing the pung, which is ward off, right? We want to, this is over hundreds of years it was developed for the perfect, it's a great posture to release that energy of pung, the expansion energy. That's the posture that was developed to release the energy. This is not really, as far as like, what's the martial application of this? Not much. But what's the martial application of the release of jin through the body to expand? Well, that's quite a different story. So with that being said, those postures are very important in the form, but then you just don't isolate them or just ignore the flow to it. Okay, I think I'm probably overstating the simple. This is simple stuff, but it's it takes a long time to kind of get to where you feel comfortable with it. So let's go through this. We're going to start with pung, and let's go and see how it works. So here comes our press. There's press. Yes, there's my front stance. There's my push. And now remember how we loop it. We bring the hand down, and then we go back into pung. Press. There it is, yes. And push. There it is, yes, but now I flow out of it. Pung. There it is. Flow. There it is. Flow. And there it is. Okay? So hopefully that kind of makes sense to you. We want to synthesize this ball, the shape, the symbol of yin and yang, and appreciate those two elements. So anyway, enjoy, practice, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye.